So this project here is mostly just for fun. Over the years I've built several of these old long tractors up that I reverse the pulleys in them and they go like 20 miles an hour or faster depending on what you do for the pulleys. But I had probably 5 of these in the past that I souped up, and they were a lot of fun, and it's been a couple of years since I've had one. I actually did it to this one here, and a couple of years ago I blew the motor up and I just kind of lost interest in it, and I kind of feel like a lost puppy without these things, because personally I would choose one of these over a four-wheeler because it doesn't matter if you break it. It's actually fun when you break it because it just gives you a reason to weld more ridiculous things onto it and just do different things to it as you fix it again. One of the things I did to this one here was, yes, I put an exhaust brake on it. Probably has a factor in why the engine locked up. But this one here used to go like 20 miles an hour, 25 miles an hour. It used to go pretty fast, like to the point where it was almost scary. But I actually built a trailer for the back of this, like a big trailer, like something that you'd pull with a small pickup truck. And I used to load it with like dirt and logs and stuff, like small logs. And when that thing was loaded, it probably weighed like 1,500 pounds. And yeah, I'm a little bit crazy. I used to pull that around everywhere, and like, yes, I used to go like 20 miles an hour with it. Of course, it wouldn't go that fast everywhere, but which is why I put the exhaust brake on there. And the exhaust brake actually worked pretty good. I actually wanted to put a Jake brake kind of setup on it and build something that would open the exhaust valve on the compression stroke, like a Jake brake does. But I couldn't really figure out how to do that without spending a whole lot of money, so figured the exhaust brake was the next best thing. The best tractors to do this with are the manual 5-speed transmissions, because you get the best results out of them. But what I'm working on right now is the engine's blown in this, so I have this old pressure washer here. The pressure washer unit broke, and the engine still runs like a top, and it's pull start too. One of the problems I had with the tractor engines was the batteries, and they would never charge, and it was always a pain. So at least with the pull start, I don't have to worry about any of that. But obviously that pressure washer doesn't have as much power as this engine, but it's what I have to work with, so why not? So I'll get these taken apart and we'll see what kind of things I have to make. Hopefully the engines even spin the right way. I'm pretty sure they spin the same direction, but I get them taken apart and see what I have to work with here. So the engine's unbolted and taken off and on both things here, and as expected, the lawnmower has a bigger shaft than the pressure washer, which isn't a big deal. The lawnmower has a 1-inch shaft and the pressure washer has a 7/8 shaft. Luckily they do spin the same way. I kind of figured that. But I think what I'm gonna do is I have a couple of these Lovejoys laying around. This one's too small, and this is the pulley right here that I made in the past for the bigger engine. So I think what I'm going to do is, here's the pressure washer pump here, and this is where it broke before and someone tried fixing it. I think I'm going to dissect this pump, and this is the shaft right here that I need to you know, to go over the engine shaft. So then this is made out of steel. So if I could dissect this and use this and somehow fasten it onto this pulley, I'm thinking I'll have it. It shouldn't be too hard. I guess I'm not really sure exactly what's in here, but I do know this thing right here is going to make whatever I need work. So we'll get them taken apart, get that pump taken apart, and see what's inside. Well, I had to get pretty brutal getting this thing apart. Yeah, say what you want, but you know what? It's not like it mattered. If it mattered, I don't think I would have smashed it with a sledgehammer. So that was a complete waste of time. I should have spark tested it or something else. I just kind of threw a magnet on it quick, and well, this big washer here was behind the seal that was in here, and that's what the magnet stuck to, not the shaft. Yeah, I should have done something different. I just kind of put a magnet on it quick and said, yeah, it's steel. So it's not. So, well, at least I got a bearing out of the deal that I can use, do something with that. So if you ever wondered what was in a pressure washer pump, anyway, I got this swash plate right here, 3 little pistons that pump the water. And I already knew that. I've had several of these apart over the years to put seals in them and fix them, but yeah, it was a waste of time. I would have figured that would be steel, actually, but no, it's aluminum. So I guess plan B is to stick with those Lovejoys or something else I'm gonna have to machine out. So see what I can find for that. Well, I managed to find this pulley off of something else, mower deck or something. I just cut it down and drilled a hole through it, put a pin through it. I don't really care about the keyway. I don't ever intend this thing to last too long. I drilled 3 big gigantic holes, so that way I got plenty of room for screw up, because that's all this thing is a screw up. It's alright. It'll probably be a lot of fun, and I plan on taking this camera everywhere I go with this thing until its final day, which is right. It's basically a doomsday machine, so let's see what it's got. But I'll get this motor put in, see if the belt fits, and see what other obstacles there are. Oh yeah, I know that I'm going to have to take this cover off and clock it different somehow, because there's no room to pull start it right there, but get the engine on and get it figured out. So here we go. So one problem, or one thing I learned from doing several of these lawnmowers like this was I always used to take like just some random pulley off the deck or something and put it on. Well, I had a lot of problems with it throwing belts. If you're gonna do this, I suggest taking the pulley that runs the deck from the motor, the one that's on the motor, the big one that runs the deck on the motor, and doing it, because as you can see here, the one that runs the deck has a really deep groove in it that really swallows the belt. So that belt really has to jump pretty good before it comes off. If you just use a regular pulley like this, the belt doesn't go down in it enough, and it really jumps off quite a bit. So that's just one of my mistakes I've made in the past. So it doesn't mean it's not going to jump off, because of course customizing stuff like this, there's always a chance for that, but that's just one tip if you're gonna do this. But everything went on really good. As you can see, everything moves here. So the pulley in the front is about the same size as the one in the back. I don't know how much power. I've never tried this with an engine this small before. I don't know how much power it's gonna have, but if it has plenty of power, I actually want to do a smaller pulley in the back, then I can go even faster. But this engine here I know will spin up a lot higher RPM than the stock one. So let's move this camera back and get this thing flipped back over. There's gas on the floor. There's gas leaking out of this. So get this thing flipped back over here. Don't lose too much gas. Oh yeah, there's gas running right out of the carburetor. But there she is right there. So well, guess the next thing is to fire it up and see what happens. This tire on the passenger side here, or yeah, the passenger side, well, I guess it'd be the driver's side actually, is completely shot. So I need to figure out what I'm going to do with this tire before I can take it for a ride. And obviously a throttle and stuff like that, because a pressure washer, you start it up and it just wants to run wide open. So that's not going to work with this. So I need to figure out something for the throttle. Shouldn't be that hard. And then should be time to take her for a little test drive. Alright, now it's time to see what this thing will do. Well, I'm definitely going to call this build a success. Doesn't have as much torque as the original engine that came on the thing, but it really rips pretty good. I'd say it probably goes like between 20 and 25 on the straightaway. This is what I ended up doing for the throttle. I just unhooked the governor spring and used it as a return spring, and then just hooked a cable to the regular throttle on it. But you got to keep the RPMs up with the smaller motor, otherwise it'll just die. It doesn't have the torque the other one has, but it's a lot of fun and it worked and it rips. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. I had a lot of fun with this one. Now I got another buggy again. I have to do some modifications to this thing. Like, I'll put a wagon on the back and take the doggy for a ride. That's what I did with my other one. I really like that. But yeah, definitely a successful build. And once again, thanks for watching.